always been interesting for me. Ringing the changes, that's what rigs are about. Okay, this rig, slightly different. You've all heard of the Withy Pool rig, no doubt. Most of you have anyway. It's something I came up with a long, long time ago. This one, it's the same principle as the Withy Pool rig, using the Hyperlink Pro. This is a braided material with 100% fluorocarbon flowing through the inner core. Once you've steamed it, it'll go stiff. It doesn't break like the coated braids do. It's just very, very manageable material. I've just devised a rig, but just using without the tubing. So if you want a water that, you know, where they are gin clear water, the less they can see, the better it is. Basically, what we're going to do, start off, you've got taken off a length of probably 12 inches of the Hyperlink Pro. We're going to do quite a good little knot. I learnt this knot off the internet, actually. Just a little overhand loop or a granny knot. Take the end through, and then pull the knot down so it's small, but you still need to feed the end back through. So you've got a little tiny hole. You're going to take the Hyperlink Pro round once, twice, 3 times, and then back through the loop that we first tied. And it's quite a simple knot, but if you're doing loops, it's just a perfect knot. Always try and wet it down. It's a really strong knot, and it just makes everything sit perfectly as a loop, as you can see there. So you just cut off the tag end. So effectively, all you've got is a nice loop to the end of the Hyperlink Pro. And the clever part, and this is what makes the Tubeless Withy what it is because it's doubled up there, we're going to put this through the back of the eye of the hook. You need to squeeze the ends together, just so it goes through. And as you can see, just through the back of the eye like that. And then take the hook just like so. So you've got no knot to the actual eye. It's just looped over. And that's all part of. You'll see in a little bit what I mean by the withy part, because we're going to steam it into the nice sort of semicircle, and then open up the Hyperlink Pro in there and give ourselves a flexi part. And that's the beauty of this material. At the moment, that's sitting like that, but once we've steamed it and we've held it straight, it will sit parallel. They'll run parallel with each other. Literally, all you're doing, taking an oval ring, put it onto your hook, one of the little Nash teardrop stops, put that onto your hook, and then stop it around parallel with the point of the hook, or just a little bit above it. This is how easy this rig is to tie. And people think that the Withy rig is a really difficult rig to tie. It's actually not. It's really, I mean, I can tie them in about a minute. So, you know, sat at home, you're probably 20 minutes, you've got, you know, 15 rigs tied, give or take. So all we're going to do now is take the Hyperlink Pro and fold it below the knot. Because what we're going to do is feed out the fluorocarbon. You've got to squeeze the material together, because you're trying to get out fluorocarbon out of the end of the out the side of the braid. And I don't know if you can see that, but that literally, there's a little tiny piece of the fluorocarbon folded over what I've bent over, and all I'm going to do is snip that. And now we've got a flexible part, as you can see. And that's the real key element to this material, is that you can do that anywhere along the hook link, so you can create whatever sort of rigs you want. But for the Withy, we're just going to have, all we need is that little bit there that we're going to put the shot down and curve it with a kettle. Right, we're just going to show you how to steam the Tubeless Withy. I'm going to be using, just for, you know, safety purposes, you know, you've got young kids and you are working with a boiling kettle. So what I'm using, solar rig cone, and just hold that over the steam. You can see that's nice and safe. And the fluorocarbon inside the Hyperlink Pro will now be starting to stiffen up. And that's all you need. The key part of this, don't rush and take that off as soon as you've taken it away from the kettle. Leave it for about 20 seconds, and then that will it'll cool down itself, and the fluorocarbon will stay in the shape that's required. We can get the hook out, and basically what you've got, I'll turn that kettle down now, there's a lovely little curve. You can set this however you want it. It doesn't have to be as long as that. If you like a rig to be closer to the ground, closer to the bottom, you can do a shorter loop knot. You just got to play about and see how it goes. And then basically all we're going to do now, put the bait on and cast that out. That's literally ready to go. And that, as you can see, just by the curve, you see how that grips hold of my finger. So the carp, if they're coming from any direction, if they're touching, it touches the bottom lip, it'll sit on the bottom lip and grip. And that's what the curve's about. It's just a very difficult rig for carp to deal with. And like I say, it's less obtrusive than using shrink tube. And obviously, it's cheaper as well for you guys. So what I'll do is I'll show you how to put a bait on in a different way now. We're using the Nash bait floss. You're going to do an overhand loop and then a loop behind it, and then just go through the loop twice. So you've created kind of a slip knot. Take your boilie. This is the fiddly part. Put your boilie in the centre of the ring. It's the ring of the bait floss, if you like. And then just ease it down. And then all you're doing is pulling it on really tight. And what you'll find is that you'll have one end that is really fixed. The other one will still slip. So it's that one you need to get hold of, chop off the tag end that slips. And I normally just give it a tiny little blob, just to stop it in case it does want to slip. And one of the key parts of the Withy rig is using an oval ring, and when you tie the knot to one side, and I'll show you why. If I tie it up to start with, like I'm right in the centre of the oval part, the hook will not sit properly. It's just the percentage. If you can see that now, the hook's sitting slightly at an angle because the ring, if you can see through there, the ring is sat at a funny angle. So all I'm going to do is just slide the knot over to one side, pull it nice and tight, chop off the end again, blob down the end, and then you'll see now that is sat perfectly. You see how the ring's sat? It's just sat, and the rig just sits much better. All you've got to do then, put on your split shot. You can put that straight onto the Hyperlink Pro because it's a tough material. If required, a little bit of putty, and that's the finished rig. And I've caught a lot of fish, especially abroad on this. This has caught a lot of fish using the Withy without the tubing. It's just a very effective rig. And that's as simple as that to make. It's very, very easy. And once you've made a few and you've got used to, steaming it in the right place, you'll see how effective it is. And that is the finished thing. And it does exactly what it's supposed to do. Catch carp.